Hey, yo, what's good? Not every fighter is going to be an all time great. Not every fighter is going to be a Hall of Famer. Not every fighter is going to be undefeated. Does not mean these fighters should not be remembered. And it does not mean that these fighters are bums. Welcome to my underrated fight series. Today I will be talking about Michael second to none, who was considered as one of the best fighters in the late 80s, early 90s, and reigned as IBF middleweight champion from 1988 to 1991, and he reigned from he reigned as super middleweight champion from 1992 until 1994. So he's a two-time world champion in two weight divisions, and he was considered probably the best fighter. In fact, he won the Fighter of the Year in 1988 in KO magazine. And he had a very awkward style, very slick fighter, very slick boxer, southpaw. He was 6'2", troubled everyone he went into the ring with. Don't take my word. Okay, this is what Al Bernstein said. As a boxer, a pure boxer, he was almost perfect. Bert Sugar said there were times early in his career you couldn't hit him with the backside of a buckshot. He could move. That was Bert Sugar, the respected historian, rest in peace. Michael Nunn was 168 and 8 as an amateur, and he was a three-time Golden Glove champion in his home state of Iowa. He also lost in the Olympic trials to Virgil Hill. Virgil Hill, who became a silver medalist in the 1984 games, and Virgil Hill, who became a Hall of Famer. He's now in the Hall of Fame. I think last year he became a Hall of Famer, 2013. So no shame in losing to him, especially as a young man in the amateur game. All right, let's delve in his pro career now. Michael Nunn was 30-0 when he got his first title shot against Frank Tate. Frank Tate was a very good fighter. He was a gold medalist in the 1984 games, which is widely considered America's best Olympic boxing team. 1984, you got Meldrick Taylor, Tyrell Biggs, Mark Breland, Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker. So that's the United States' best Olympic boxing team. Anyway, Michael Nunn made easy work of Frank Tate, totally dominated him, outboxed him, outfought him, and knocked him out in the 9th round. His first title defense was against Juan Domingo Roldan, who he knocked out in the 8th. Roldan gave Hagler hell. He was Roldan is the only man in Hagler's career to officially drop him. And he also gave Tommy Hearns hell in their fight when Tommy Hearns tried to become the middleweight champion of the world. But Michael Nunn dominated him and knocked him out in the 8th. He knocked out Sumbu Kalambe in the first round, with the brutal left hand, a beautiful left hand. That was nasty. That knockout is nasty. Kalambe, very good fighter as well. He beat a undefeated Harold Graham, who was 38-0. He actually beat Kalambe twice. He beat Iran Barkley in Barkley's first title attempt. He beat Mike McCallum, who's a Hall of Famer now. You don't know who Mike McCallum is? Go check out some of his fights. Not specifically Mike McCallum's fights with Julian Jackson and James Toney, to name a few. Kalambe also beat Robbie Sims. Robbie Sims, who beat Roberto Duran. So that's probably Nunn's best victory in his whole career. To hold a first round KO victory like that over someone as tough as Kalambe, who was a tough African from Zaire. Zaire is like a nation that doesn't even exist anymore. That's a good victory. He beat Marlon Starlin. Marlon Starlin was a good fighter, very good fighter, who gave Michael Nunn hell. Michael Nunn won a majority decision. I think it wasn't close enough to give a majority decision, but a lot of people thought it was closer than I believe it should have been. I think people scored it closer because Marlon Starlin was coming up from welterweight and he was giving a good fight. He was giving a good effort. But I digress. Michael Nunn won anyway. Marlon Starlin's a very good fighter. He beat Floyd Mayweather twice, senior. So please don't come at me. He fought Donald Curry twice, losing twice. He beat Simon Brown, who was 26-0. Simon Brown beat Terry Norris and then lost to Terry Norris. He beat Kevin Howard, who fought Sugar Ray Leonard. And he fought Bernard Hopkins and David Reed. He lost to both fighters, but that's a good fighter to have on your resume, Simon Brown. Starlin also beat Kevin Howard, who fought Sugar Ray Leonard. Starlin knocked out Mark Breland, who was a gold medalist in the 1984 Olympic Games, and he had a draw in the rematch. Mark Breland, if you're not familiar with him, like I said, he's a gold medalist. He beat Lloyd Honeyghan. He beat Rafael Pineda, who was 20-0. Rafael Pineda was a very good fighter as well, who beat Roger Mayweather. And he had fights with Pernell Whitaker, Corey Spinks, and Zab Judah. Losing all three, but he was still in that level to fight them. Marlon Starlin knocked out Lloyd Honeyghan. Did he knock him out? He beat him. He beat Lloyd Honeyghan. And Lloyd Honeyghan beat Donald Curry. And he beat Jorge Vaca, who knocked out, brutally, I may add, Mark Breland. But he lost the first fight with Jorge Vaca, and he beat Jorge Vaca in the rematch. So that's a good name. Yeah, Marlon Starlin knocked out Lloyd Honeyghan in the 9th round. Back to Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn's 5th defense of the IBF title was against Donald Curry, and this is a very good win. That's a very good fight. This fight with Donald Curry. Curry gave his full effort, gave Michael Nunn hell for a few rounds, actually. I think he won about 4 rounds. I think I had Curry winning like start of the 8th round. Donald Curry got dropped in the 7th round. So, but it was a good fight. Donald Curry gave all he had, but Michael Nunn was just too big and too fast and too good for Donald Curry. He eventually got stopped in the 10th round. Referee stopped it. Donald Curry is another very good champion who beat Marlon Starlin twice. He also beat Milton McCroy knocked out Milton McCroy in one of a brutal knockout. That a knockout for a highlight reel. One of those highlight reel knockouts. To become undisputed welterweight champion. So Donald Curry was a former undisputed welterweight champion. He lost his undisputed welterweight championship to Lloyd Honeyghan, and then he got iced by Mike McCallum. I'm talking about iced, guys. Then he also got knocked out by Terry Norris later when he was a bit past, right after the Nunn fight, actually. But they were already saying, people were already saying he should retire after the Nunn fight. So he made 5 defenses of the IBF title, and then he stepped up to fight James Toney. James Toney was 25-0 and 22 years old. I think this speaks for the greatness of James Toney. Michael Nunn was considered by most the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter of that time, 36-0, and James Toney stepped up. He was losing the fight on all 3 scorecards, and he won a come from behind knockout victory in the 11th round, man. Dropped him with the left hook. Michael Nunn got up because he got hurt, and James Toney stopped him. That speaks volumes for the greatness of James Toney. So, I've seen comments, guys. James Toney's overrated. Hell to the no. Hell no. He beat an undefeated Michael Nunn, who was winning on all scorecards. Michael Nunn was a fighter with great confidence. So to knock this guy out, that's one of his finest victories in James Toney's great career. So he became a two-time champion in two different weight classes when he beat Victor Cordova to win the super middleweight WBA title. He beat him twice. Then he lost the title to Steve Little, and he lost his attempt at regaining the title again against Frank Lyles. Frank Lyles beat Steve Little, and he also beat Segundo Mercado, who would later fight Bernard Hopkins for the middleweight championship of the world. Frank Lyles was a good fighter. He made 7 defenses of that super middleweight title. So not too much shame in losing to him. He also beat contenders like John Scully, who's referred to as a good fighter, never won a title, but I think he's more respected now as a back behind the scenes type of guy. And he beat William Guthrie by 7th round TKO. Guthrie was a former world champion, and he's a very good fighter as well. So Michael Nunn record stands at 58-4. 37 victories came by knockout, and only one of his losses that James Toney lost came by a knockout. So he had a hell of a career. And then in 2002, if you're not familiar, this will blow your mind. It blew mine. It really did. In 2002, Michael Nunn was caught by an undercover cop trying to buy a kilo of cocaine. Here's the kicker. He was trying to buy a kilo of cocaine with $200. So this guy gets arrested for drug trafficking. Apparently, there was witnesses that said that he was involved in drug trafficking since 1993, and then he had a past. Apparently, Davenport, Iowa is rough. So it's a rough city, a rough area. And Michael Nunn was involved with that type of lifestyle a lot for a long time. He was involved in that for a long time. In 2002, they just caught him through that undercover. So Michael Nunn is sitting in prison to this day. He is set to be released in 2024. It's sad, really, man. You're talking about a 2-time world champion, a one that grossed $6 million throughout his career. And now he's sitting in a jail cell. He was sentenced in 2004. So he's going to serve at least a 20-year sentence, man, for drug trafficking. What can I say about that, man? It's very unfortunate, man. And in an interview, a great interview, I'll put in the description. It's an article by the Des Moines Register. And Michael Nunn says that he only hopes to be remembered by fans. So this is what I'm doing right here. I'm kind of doing his wishes, man. Remembering him as he was, as a very talented, very good fighter. As he should be remembered, as a very talented fighter. One of the most talented fighters, I would say, of his era. Even though it's a era filled with talented fighters. But at least for that one moment, he was the best fighter of the world. So I ask you guys to remember Michael Nunn as well as he was back when he fought, back when he was the pound for pound, probably best fight in the world, the one that was being avoided by Sugar Ray Leonard, who was still fighting, who would often refer as Michael Nunn as the best middleweight in the world, and he really wanted no part of it. So Michael Nunn was a very good fighter, one that definitely deserves to be remembered. I will put that article in the description and also a few videos of commentary about Michael Nunn's career that I found very interested and very valuable if you want to know more about Michael Nunn's career. These videos are from Talkinboxing, Andrew Sr., and Karceno. The three of them made very informative videos on Michael Nunn's career. And I'll put all those videos and the article in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of this tribute to a very good fighter. And what are some underappreciated fighters that you guys could think of? Once again, thanks for watching and have a great day. Peace.